Hey guys, welcome to my video. Could this be the fingerprints of Earth's creation? And I haven't made one of these videos in a while, and for some reason I just kind of felt like making a video about this because I think people should know. In the past, I noticed that there are reoccurring patterns on the planet's surface feature, and I was curious to what are they, why are they there, and I started tracking them, and I started realizing that the planet is actually covered by these reoccurring patterns that seem to be all related to one thing. And that was what the whole journey of those videos that I made was actually me trying to figure them out. So, of course, I'm trying to figure them out. I'm not claiming that I know everything about this or whatever. I'm just showing you what I'm finding. The reason that I claim that these defy plate tectonics is basically plate tectonics is a theory that's based upon randomness and disorder and entropy. You have subduction zones, you have plates ramming one another, destroying each other, subducting underneath each other and being melted up in the mantle according to plate tectonics, which I'm not claiming is wrong, but what I'm claiming is that there are some observations that I believe that don't support the theory of plate tectonics, or maybe suggest that the theory of plate tectonics needs to be revised. That's it. It's that simple. And what I'm trying to say is that if you have reoccurring patterns all over the surface of our planet, that most likely those reoccurring patterns are related by the process that created them. And let me just give you a quick demonstration before I show you what I'm claiming is like a fingerprint tying them together. If you look up here at the Taran Basin, you have this depression right here that's pretty oddly shaped. It looks like it's shaped like a teardrop kind of. But you look next to it, what's odd is that how come science or mainstream science cannot see this and then look to the left and see that there's these seas that are similar in size. The shapes are slightly different, but they are similar in shape. It almost as if whatever cut this out was rotating. And you can see it with this image right here and this one right here, 90 degrees off. But also in between them seems to be kind of like an outline of a similar feature. It's almost like if it's rotating and moving. And you can see that it continues on down to here. Even this almost looks like two Taran basins, one going this way and one going that way. I find that odd. I think that these are related, and you can kind of tell when you look in between these two seas and you got these ridges connecting them. It looks as if some process has moved from one to the other. Now that's just an observation. That's just to kind of get you on the same track here. But what I want to show you is that over here actually, you have like the Marianas Trench, right? Now, above the Marianas Trench, you have these, well, I guess they're volcanic features right here. You can see the dots. They may be islands, they may be just underneath the ocean surface, but you can see that there is like an order to them. They seem to be spaced apart a certain distance and mostly in a straight line. But what happens, like, if you look over here and you can see something very similar in the volcanoes over here. You can see these green dots, the darker colored areas, they are volcanoes. But what's odd about them is they are spaced very similar to the features over the Marianas Trench. Well, just like in forensics, be quite easy to see if the process that made one made the other by simply taking this and overlaying it with these and seeing if they line up. If they are related, these peaks should line up like a fingerprint at a crime scene. So let's try that, and let me show you what the results are. Okay, so you can see I have two images of both areas, and the reason that this is kind of important is because both these areas are separate subduction zones, and according to plate tectonics, there's no reason that these should be related. So let me show. What I'm going to do is I'm going to basically delete the ocean here and just take this island chain and volcanoes and move them up over here like this, and then I'm going to move them up, and look for the widest ones with the biggest gap and match them up like that. And I can make this even a little see-through like that, and then I can take them and you can see these peaks line up like that. See how they get smaller here? See how they line up? And these are hundreds of miles away from one another, and they're both subduction zones. Now, some people will say that's a coincidence, but the problem with that is that I can match these up all around the planet with other features with the same distance and the same sizing. They may not look the same, but I can show you, just like the fingerprint at a crime scene, that they are indeed related, which is an observation that would defy plate tectonics. And you know, if there's some, you know, mainstream science believers, whatever, out there that think that I'm wrong, well then prove it. Prove that they don't line up. Prove that my observations don't match, when they obviously do, and everybody can see it with their own eyes, and you don't need a scientist to tell you that they match. You can see it with your own eyes. And this is not supported by plate tectonics, or actually this doesn't support plate tectonics. I'm not saying that plates aren't subducting, which I'm sure they are, and earthquakes are real, and plates move, and everything like that. But what I'm claiming is that these features take plate tectonics to another level. They may even explain the creation of our planet, because they may be actual reoccurring patterns of Earth's creation. And the reason why that they would be in the surface is because that would be the oldest part. Because if you think about it, like the Taran Basin that I showed you earlier, those gouges may not have been created at the surface of the planet. They may be created at its core in the beginning, when the planet was being created. I mean, I'm not saying that that's exactly how it happened. I'm just throwing that out as an example of why these reoccurring patterns may be what they are, you know. You'll notice though that I wonder what happens though if I turn this. You can tell that this is all related all the way down to where it whips around like a J, like that. And if you look at that shape right here, maybe I should bring the full piece in here. You can see that it looks a lot like this. See how it fits in there? It happens to be the same length. Look, the tip's been cut off the bottom image, so I'll extend it down on the top image to kind of match it. And you could see, if you could see these peaks, see how I move it? And look at the width. They're the same. But not only that, if you look like at the features and stuff like that, you could see that there's a relationship going on with the islands and these underwater features. But also, what happens if I take the most obvious thing, take this piece and slide it over and match it up with these islands? Okay, so I take this and we scoot it over. You can see down here, they begin to line up very easily, actually. Like that. See the ends? They line up because they're related to the process that created both of them. Like a fingerprint. It's that easy. These are simple observations which defy plate tectonics to a point. I'm not saying that plate tectonics isn't accurate when it talks about plate movement and stuff like that, but they're definitely missing the big picture. It lines up. Up here and everywhere. Like that. But what happens if this is rotating? Like that. And you can see they line up again because all of this is made by the same process. Well, that's my claims. You can see that it just keeps matching up over and over again because it's these string of islands that are replicating themselves from whatever process. Now, that's the whole idea of these videos, is to figure out what this process could be and what's going on. And that's what I tried to do with the last set of videos. And I had a hard time explaining it, I guess, to people. But basically, to anybody that is like an extremist for mainstream science, these line up. They do. They just do. No matter how close you look at them, no matter what kind of scrutiny you use, they match up. But not just here. They match up all over the place. For example, these lines from another part of the planet. It might be hard to see, but they do line up. As a matter of fact, I mean, you can rotate this back and forth because maybe that's what was happening when these layers are created. But you can see, it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can clean this up and make it easier. Okay, so I have those ridges right here, the mountain peaks here, going to just try to find the alignment and then slide it over. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can just find it. I think this is it right here. Yeah. See, look at as I slide one over the other, you can see that the lines continually match up with the peaks as I slide them through, which is probably very similar to the process that created them. A movement, like a rotating movement. You see that? How these should not line up. If they're not related, they shouldn't line up. There's no coincidences between three separate areas around the planet. But that's not all of them. There's more. That's all I have time for in this video. So, I don't know about you, but when I observe these things lining up, it tells me that they're related. And this is observational. And theories are supported by observations. Observations are not supported by theories. So you got to understand the power of observation overrides any theory, no matter who makes the observation or who makes the theory. Thanks for watching. I'm probably going to put out some more of these videos because I'm starting to feel like it is important that people know these things, because this is something. This is not just, if it was a figment of my imagination, they wouldn't line up. And you can see that they do line up. So it's observation that's factual. Thanks for watching.